The following story was recorded in 1968 from the words of Josef Geiger, who in 1941 participated in the Wehrmacht offensive operation against the USSR as part of Army Group Center. In 1942, he was seriously wounded in battle and demobilized. Relatives and doctors did not notice any mental problems with Geiger, either before or after the war. According to acquaintances, Josef was never distinguished by a vivid imagination or a tendency to fantasize. All this happened in the summer of 1941. On the one hand, it was a real battle. On the other hand, it was a formal chaos, not prescribed by any military regulations. The situation simply did not have a precise military name. Some Russian unit was breaking through from encirclement to its own. Several light tanks, several trucks with soldiers. They unexpectedly showed up at the division's location, stumbled upon our company, and attacked from the rear. Then I found out that some of them did break through, but that was later. I was very lucky. The bullet caught me tangentially. As it turned out later, it slid across my head, tore off a large piece of skin, stunned me, and nothing more. I was also lucky in that I was at the edge of the forest, and when I fell unconscious, Russian light tanks rushed to the side and did not crush me. The orderlies did not pick me up right away. As I said, there was some confusion. They did not immediately find out about the whereabouts of our company. The commander was among the first to be killed. He only managed to place us for rest in that clearing and did not have time to inform the higher authorities about our deployment. My comrades carried away the wounded and left me among the dead. They decided that I was also dead. My whole head was covered in dried blood. Anyone could have made a mistake. I woke up late at night. He moved and touched his head. She hurt like hell, but it was clear that the blood was no longer flowing. Apart from the head, there were no injuries. However, a lot of blood flowed out. I could not move from weakness. I was shaking. I wanted to scream, to call someone. Ours were probably not particularly far away. We knew that the division had received orders to remain in that area for now, and then all the sounds got stuck in my throat. You see, the night was clear and cloudless. There was a full moon, huge, yellowish. Raising myself a little, I saw a clearing. About 100 meters from me stood a Russian truck, tilted somehow absurdly. Apparently, its cab was shot out of a machine gun. The driver was killed, and the car crashed into a tree and then was slightly thrown back by the blow. The dead lay everywhere, ours and the Russians. No one moved, did not moan, did not call. And they jumped and frolicked over the dead. I don't know who they were. These creatures did not at all resemble animals known to science. They were not that big, about the size of a cat, very lean, thin, surprisingly agile and nimble. Do you know what's the strangest thing? The moon shone brightly, but I could not see them in all details. They seemed like silhouettes, such flexible, nimble, agile silhouettes. There were many, many of them. They were frolicking. That would be perhaps the most accurate word. They played like children. They jumped from corpse to corpse, chased each other. The whole point, apparently, was to jump from one dead body to another without touching the ground. Somehow, they squealed and grunted, and it was all disgusting to the extreme. They themselves, their squeaks and grunts, their carefree games, their very appearance. I can't really explain it, but they emanated disgust, like a bad smell emanating from a tramp. There was a large clearing littered with corpses. The moon was shining brightly, and these games of theirs were disgusting. For them, the dead were fun. They liked it all, that there were dead people lying around, that there were a lot of them, dead people, that there was death everywhere. I didn't know what I was seeing, and even now I have no idea who I saw, but I am absolutely sure of one thing. Whoever these creatures are, they are deeply hostile to the human race. What we live by simply did not exist for them. I can swear on anything that I saw this, not in a dream or in delirium. They actually happened, and they were bad. Was I a believer? Then no. I was young, and we were raised without much emphasis on church values. I lay there and watched. To these games of theirs, jumping from corpse to vanity, black, lean, thin silhouettes. They jumped. Some seemed to dance, and these were very strange dances, again having nothing in common with human dances. They squealed, grunted, and squealed. Not a single articulate word, but nevertheless, from somewhere, I had a strong conviction that these creatures have a kind of intelligence. And then, I don't know how much time passed, I became scared, just incredibly scary. I imagined that they would now notice that I was alive. I don't know what would have happened then, but then at the mere thought that they would see me now, the hair on my head moved. I rummaged around and came across a machine gun. I felt a little more confident. It was a weapon. A weapon always gives a person confidence, even in such a situation. I carefully pulled the machine gun towards me by the belt. The store should have been full. I never had time to shoot when the Russians appeared. My head was spinning. My whole body felt like cotton wool, but I still slightly raised the machine gun, rested its magazine on the ground, pulled the trigger, and fired a long burst in their direction. I wouldn't have been able to take aim. I was shooting at random just above the ground. The machine gun was bouncing, almost fell out of my hands. I could barely hold it. And everything was gone. They all disappeared instantly. 1 minute there were several dozen of them, and the next moment there were none. Only the moon, a clearing, and corpses. No movement. Ours appeared very quickly. Just half a kilometre behind the forest, a mobile hospital was set up. They heard shots there, and one of the officers sent soldiers to examine the area. They approached me cautiously, but I screamed, and they very quickly picked me up and took me to the infirmary. I didn't tell anyone the details. It's unlikely that they would believe me. But I myself know for sure that I did not imagine these creatures. They actually performed these disgusting dances there. They played with corpses. Whoever they were evil spirits. If you were in my place, you would come to exactly the same conclusions. Nothing like this has ever happened to me again. Just this one time.